Aí, estou com câmera e voz? Boa. O Edu tem que habilitar dele. Que evento agora. Alô?
Hello, good night, good evening. Carol, you can start the presentation, please.
Oh, sure. See here.
Welcome to Fourth World Tour. We are friends of Figma Porto Alegre, Brasil, Rio Grande do Sul. I am Diogo Marques, a business system analyst at SEFAZ, RS, Secretaria da Fazenda do Rio Grande do Sul. And World Tour is a virtual celebration of folk community around the world to celebrate a richness and the diversity of our global community. It's designed to spotlight unique voices, ideas, and creativity. Me fugiu em português.
I think we can start now. Let's go.
Please.
So, hello everyone. Welcome to the Friends of Figma World Tour 2025. We are from Porto Alegre, as you know, and we are very excited about this special edition. Our talk today is Metrics That Matter, Daily Decisions in Product Design. And together, we will explore how numbers, metrics, and measurable outcomes can empower product designers to make better decisions, demonstrate impact, and build strong alignment with teams and stakeholders. I am Carolina Nobre, UX designer at DB, and with me is...
Hi guys, I'm Eduardo Viva, product designer at PipeRun. So let's start our talk. And to begin, I want you to imagine a story. Let's say you pass many months building a great product, and finally you launch this product to your users. And you tested a lot of hypotheses, you've done a lot of validation rounds, and now, as your users are using your product, you note that it has a low conversion rate. But you doesn't even know how to start fixing this, how to fix these low conversion rates and make your product convert better. Does this look familiar to you? Yeah. So I want now you to imagine a different world, a world where you launch your product, you pass months building your product, and again, you note that your product has it's converting bad, it's having a low conversion rate. And as soon as you discover it has a low conversion rates, you start to look why and search why this is happening. And you discover that from the users who start your trial, most of them doesn't even touch important functionality of your products. And you fix this, you make your functionality more clear as an example, and your numbers go sky up. Did you see how a little change into your process could have a bigger impact on your products? Yeah, that's that's where you want you to share with what we want to share with you. So to begin, I want to share with you the Google example. Google loves to start and kill his products, and that's not just because they build strange products. That's because they know how to analyze and they know what needs to be analyzed uh, to make better decisions and get informed decisions based on this data. And now, when they kill these products, they have again the resources they saved. They can focus these resources into, into new products and building new projects that could, in fact, bring a return to the company. So, how do we reach this level? To answer this, we will share a few five types of metrics, and the first one will being project metrics. So, why defining metrics into your project is important? I'll share with you two examples of three categories. That's why you can document project goals, you can defining metrics, you can improve your UX culture of your business and the maturity of your UX into your business, and to show the value of your work. The first example I want to share with you is when I started a new project. And after immersing into this project and talking with the stakeholders, I understood that the main project goal of this, what I was working on, was to increase the flow of contracts analyzed into the periods. And I made this my main metric that would define the project success. But this metric alone, even though being achievable, isn't really actionable. So that's why I decomposed this metric into two lagging metrics. That is the reducing the number of steps and reducing the time needed to complete an analysis. And these metrics here, these two metrics, are in fact actionable, and they became my main design goals. They directed the efforts of the project, and my work focused only on hitting these two metrics. And because in last instance, we knew that if we as a team reduced the number of steps and reduced the time needed, we would finally increase the flow of contracts. And this made really clear what were we aiming for, uh, not just to me, but to my entire team, and made really clear to our stakeholders what the success of the project would look like. So everybody wins here. Uh, that's why defining metrics is it's important. And the second example I want to share with you, it's when w- defining metrics show the project gains and benefits. And the example I want to share with you is when I conducted a big research effort into my company. And as a final answer to the company, I gave them the answer that by building the system they want to build, this could be positive. But we recommended that it should not be prioritized right now. And just giving them this answer would make a lot of impact on the company. But I made an extra step and showed them that by not building this product, we could save a lot of money. We could save a lot of hours building the product and save them the opportunity costs that by not using these resources, they could use these resources into other projects that could in fact bring a return to the company. And this made really clear to the company what we are impacting them, how are we impacting them, and it showed the value of my work because by putting this on my portfolio, I showed that not only I know how to conduct research, but I know how my work impacted the company. And that's the benefits of the project metrics. And now I want to share with you how to define product metrics. So when you search on the internet how to start defining metrics to your product, you'll find everywhere about the Hertz framework. And I've been there too. And when I started to define metrics in my product, I built the Hertz framework to my product. And now I have a lot of goals, signals, and metrics alone, and I just didn't know what to do with this. I didn't know how to link these metrics to my products. So I thought, how could I make it easier, Pascal? How could I make it easier? Um, so I've landed on this framework that is the metrics tree. The metrics tree, uh, it's a mixture of framework I've built using the Thiago Belouf course and the Teresa Torres metrics from Continuous Discovery Habits book. To start defining your metrics tree, you will start with the first node of the tree, that is the company objectives. This is what the company has defined it wants to achieve. Usually, it will be the key result of an OKR or an important KPI of your company. The second node is the business outcomes. This is the first driver of the tree, and this measures how well the business is progressing towards its goals. The uh, third node is the product outcomes, and this measures how well each product is moving the business forward. And the fourth node is the traction and UX metrics. This is the most basic metrics of your product, and this measures the usage of a specific feature or flow into the product. And I'll show you right now how this works. This is an example of uh, how a metrics tree would looks like. And this example I want to share with you, it's from loan company. Okay, so imagine the company objective of this loan company into this tree is to increase the value of the company loan portfolio. And the business outcomes they could define here could be the average ticket of loans per loan. That could be the growth rates of new loans to, sorry, the third node being the product outcomes. And here they could define things like the average ticket for each product, like the average ticket for personal loans, the average ticket for house loans, for car loans. For each product, they could define its own metrics. They could define things like uh, the growth rates of the average ticket. This would um, impact the average tickets. This is the business outcomes. They could define new personal loans here as a product outcomes too. And the traction and UX metrics, they could define the most basic metrics like quantity of loan simulations. They could define the click-through rates as a traction metric. They could define another actionable metric that is important to them as a company. Uh, as the UX metrics, they could define things like the satisfaction with the process. They could define as qualitative metrics like ease of having a document to the user that it needs to make a loan, as an example. And I know there's a lot to digest right now, so that's why we built FigJam templates, so you can run workshops on your own, bring your team together and define metrics with your team that could impact your company. The link to this framework will be in the end of our presentations. Okay. And now, as I talked about the experience metrics, I'll pass to Carol to continue talking about this.
Okay, thanks, Edu. Now that we understand better how to define the team metrics and the objectives, let's see how we can create experience metrics for these projects. Starting with this information, 44% of organizations are still very immature in measuring customer experiences. It means that we are still learning and working to build a mature process, one that recognizes the need of for metrics to help us understand how to deliver higher quality products to our users. And just to clarify some concepts here related to the experience metrics, we've brought the definition of customer experience. That is the overall perception a customer has of a brand based on all interactions across touch points. And the connection between the customer experience and the metrics will allow measuring the impact of customer experience strategies. To start talking about how we can create metrics, it's important to begin with some essential elements that are indispensable for effective measurement. The first one is its updated database is use accurate real-time data to ensure reliable metrics and informed decisions. The second one, continuous data collection, capture behavior continuously to detect trends and respond quickly. And the last one, assured agile process, maintain an iterative workflow to turn insights into rapid impactful action. And how we can measure this? Considering the elements we mentioned to understand how the business is performing and improve customer retention, we can track metrics such as NPS, CSAT, CES, churn rate, and retention rate. And let's talk more about this. The Net Promote Score, it's a simple and widely used metric to measure customer satisfaction and loyalty, and it's based on a single question. How likely are you to recommend our product or service to a friend or a colleague? And customers respond on a scale from 0 to 10, and based on their score, they are classified as promoters or passives or detractors. And a higher NPS here indicates in stronger customer loyalty and satisfaction. Uh, the customer satisfaction is a key metric that measures how satisfied customers are with a product, service, or interaction. It's usually with a quick survey asking how satisfied were you with your experience, and responses are typically given on a scale 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, and higher scores indicate greater satisfaction. CSAT helps businesses identify what's working well and where improvements are needed to enhance the customer experience. In a practical example here, in some stores, you can find a machine near the entrance where you can rate your experience. So it's an example for this metric in the real world. And the next one, customer effort score, measures how easy it is for a customer to complete an action or solve a problem with your product or service. It's usually based on the question, how easy was it to resolve your issue today? And customers respond on a scale from very difficult to very easy, and lower effort scores indicate a smoother experience. Says CES helps identify friction points and improve overall customer satisfaction by making process more efficient. The churn rate track the rate at which customers stop using a product or a service over a given period. This is a key indicator of customer retention and business health. If you want to calculate it, you can divide the number of customers who canceled service during the period by the number of customers at beginning of the period, and then multiplying the result by 100. Then you have the result. And by analyzing the chart, businesses can identify patterns, reduce losses, and improve strategies, keep customers engaged. And closely related to the churn, the retention rate measures the percentage of customers a company keeps over a specific period. It shows how well a business maintains the customer base and builds a long-term relationships. You can hear me? You can hear me? It's okay for you? Ah, okay. Everything was so quiet here. And if you want to calculate it, you can divide the number of customers at the end of the period by the number of customers at the beginning of the period, and then multiplying the result by 100. And a high retention here indicates strong customer satisfaction and loyalty, while a low rate may suggest issues with the product, service, or experience. There are many other ways to calculate experience metrics. Don't worry. We covered just a few of them. But now I would like to move away from these experience metrics, which give us a macro perspective, like we talked about the NPS, CSAT, churn, etc., which give us this macro, as I said, and start talking about how we can measure a product or service from a micro perspective. And I think this will be clear in the next slides, I promise you. And we can, so looking at this micro perspective, we start focus now on usability metrics, especially as they apply to digital products and user experiences. And once projects have been developed and launched, it's important to make sure the chosen approach truly meets the the user needs. And to validate this, we can rely on several types of measurements, such as SUS, OMUX, and scorecard. The system usability scale is a 10-question survey designed to quickly evaluate the system's perceived usability. It's simple, quick, and widely used. It provides reliable results without tiring the users. And SUS evaluates key usability factors such as effectiveness, efficiency, and satisfaction, and it's typically applied after qualitative usability tests. It's also based on Norman's usability heuristics. It provides a uniform score where results above 68 generally indicates a good usability. Additionally, several websites are available to help calculate this score automatically. So it's easy to find a way to calculate it if you want to apply it. The usability metric for user experience is a concise four-item questionnaire developed by Intel to measure perceived usability. It is commonly used after usability, as you can see as SUS. And the questionnaire includes two positive and two negative questions rated on a 5 or 7 point scale. And the results are often displayed in a graph highlighting two aspects, the perceived usability and the effective usability. There is a simplified version called UMX Lite, focuses only on two positive statements. For example, you can just ask the features of the system meet my requirements, or this system is easy to use. And then you can respond between I disagree or I agree. So it's more as if you don't have any time. This scorecard is a practical tool used by designers to evaluating products or systems based on usability criteria. It relies on the well-known 10 usability heuristics, which cover fundamental aspects such as system use status visibility, user freedom and control, error prevention, and consistency, among others. And additionally, accessibility is included as an important criterion to ensure inclusivity. This evaluation, based on rating relevant criteria from poor to excellent, highlights usability gaps and supports continuous UX refinement. And next here is we present a generic example of how this document can be filled out based on the suggested categories and possible guiding questions for each step. You can see here an example with some questions you can put about this category, and then through some magic calculations, it's possible to generate a score that reflects the quality of the product evaluation. So far, we've shown how to evaluate a single situation, but what if you have more than one? And now I will hand it over to Eduardo to explain how to handle this case.
Okay, I'll talk right now about A/B testing metrics. Okay, so when do you run an A/B test? You run an A/B test when you have a product that your users are using, and you want to make subtle changes to your product, and you without um, using risks, without risks, you want to test if your these new changes how they will perform into your products. So you put your product in the air, you divide the access into your product and some variants with these subtle changes into your product, and you measure how they are performing over a specific period of time. So to run an A/B test, you need to define 4 steps. The first one being the means of distribution. You need to define how will you uh, launch your tests. So you can rely on tools like the VWO, the that Google Optimize that I like it to use, or as my experience, my own team developed our tool to launch these tests. The second thing you need to define is the originating hypothesis. So why are you doing these tests? Is there any data to support our points into these tests? You need to define this, so then you could define the test objectives. So what do we want to achieve, Pascal? What do we want to achieve with these tests? What should the winning version achieve? How can we define success here? And after defining this, you define the impacted metrics. So what numbers will be impacted by the test? Why this is important to monitor? What metrics we need to define? So the first and the second points here are really subjective, so I will not dive into this, and I will explain to you how to define the test objectives and the impacted metrics. So to define the test objectives, a really great tool is the CXL calculator. You input into this calculator uh, your current traffic of your website or product and the conversion your website or product is having, and it will give you, divided into test weeks, how much increase the variance needs to have to be considered a winner. So into this print example here, if you run your tests for 4 weeks, the B variance will need to have 10% more conversion than the control one. If your B variance doesn't have or have less conversion than 10%, the control will be the winner variance. And to define your impacted metrics, you just passa Carol. To define your impacted metrics, you just uh, monitor your conversion rate, right? Right? Let's see. I'll share with you an example of how I worked with an A/B test and defining metrics on my example. Okay. So I have the control variant where we had a text and a CTA, and when the user clicked on the CTA, he would be redirected to a farm where he will then fill the farm. And I had a little hypothesis that if we could do more than this. So I launched the B variant that we inserted an input before the CTA, and after the user clicked the CTA, the flow will guide him to three steps, yeah, 3 pages that the users needed to input into these forms. And if I just monitor the conversion rate of the main CTA of the page, I will have just a tiny vision of my entire flow because as on this example, the flow happened more steps than the main page. So the user needed to click on the button, pass. The user needed then to fill the form, the user needed to talk to a salesperson, and then after a long period of time, the deal would be closed and the sales would be made. So as I'm showing here, if I just measure the main conversion rates, I will measure just the first step of the flow and all the rest of the flow would be uncovered from my A/B tests. So that's why as I am defined metrics, but I defined my main metric of the test will be the landing page conversion, as this was the conversion rate I was trying to improve. But I defined to the secondary metrics being the completing the simulation, so completing all the flow, the click-through rate, so how the flow was performing itself, and the final conversion, so how this entire flow would be translated into sales to the company, money to the company. And with all of this, if summarizing all of this, the what I would say to you would be look at your product's entire journey and identify points that could be affected by change beyond the most obvious one.
And with everything we discussed today, you can see that metrics really matter in making it easier to guide your daily decisions as a product designer. Okay, it is for us. I hope for you too. And we appreciate the opportunity to speak with all of you today. Please feel free to ask any questions or make comments. And thank you once again.
I saw Henrique had a question.
Okay.
Do you wanna?
Yes, there is a great question for Enrique. I love it. He asked if you could explain a difference between NPS and CSAT and how to choose between them. Because every day he finds a trick to tell them apart.
Oh, this is a great question. Henrique, right? I don't know if you want to, I don't know if you can have a short answer here, but we can, after you can send a text with to us, you can talk it. I know Rachel, she answered something. I don't know. I was not reading message, sorry. Let's see.
Yeah, I would say that the NPS will have a bigger um, goal to the company. So I will focus the NPS on my entire product. So as the question of the NPS, how would I didn't remember the question, but how would your como é que é a pergunta do NPS, pra falar a real?
I can put here again the slides just to help us.
To indicate our product to a friend or colleague. So it's from the entire product. And the CSAT is the satisfaction of an most basic flow. So when you are completing a flow, when you are doing something, a job to the user, you ask him the satisfaction with this specific task the user was completing. And the NPS, on my experience, is from the entire product. That's how I use it.
I don't know if I think the more common here, maybe it's the NPS to see, as Eduardo was talking, you can see all the experience, but yeah, the CSAT is more about the satisfaction the when you're using a product. But you can talk later. No, you can call us. Eduardo loves talking about this, so feel free to call us.
Yeah, Rachel answered a
Ah,
similar
okay.
similar to this.
Okay. I think
Rach,
I can read what Rachel wrote here. I think it's very interesting. Uh, but she was, in my experience, NPS score is a business strategy metric. It's used primarily for tracking long-term loyalty. The scale is 0 to 10, but only 9, 10 are considered promoters. It is not really granular enough to help us thinking about UX, UI. It's a similar indicator to retention. You can tell if there is a big problem, but not what the problem is. Perfect here. And CSAT is usually a 1 to 5 scale used to measure how satisfied users are with a specific interaction or feature. Perfect. Thank you, Rachel. Perfect.
I saw when Henrique answered again. I see when you say that it really it in this example it's really confusing because you trigger a set a question after the customer uses the product and it comes after purchasing and using it later. So somehow it encompasses the whole product experience. It gets tricky when your product is really so small that your product does one thing. And in this example, I would say it comes down to a strategy. So what you wanna um, get answered here? You wanna understand if your user is satisfied with the product and experience, or you wanna discover if your user got so satisfied that he would indicate to a friend or colleague. Both answers responds almost the same thing, but this set will give you an answer most more focused on the experience. So actionable insights here. You can understand here if he is not satisfied because a filter doesn't work well as expected, or if he doesn't find what he was looking for. While on the NPS example, you understand if the product he uses, like the shirt he bought, is good, if it has good fabric, or if he fits well the user. That's how I see it.
Sure, do it. He said that he will connect. Eduardo loves talking, so you can call him. Thank you for your question.
see Rachel had another question. Can you talk about how you set up your design process to make sure you include measurement? You want to talk about this, Carol?
How you set up your design process to make sure you include your measurement. I was thinking about the scorecard. I don't know if it can be an example here, but I was in a company that this measurement was already in the process, so it was easy to, okay, I can put it to have this measure. But it's, I guess each one has a case. If you don't have this opportunity in your company, if you don't have the uh, something project to have a metrics, uh, it's interesting to talk with a colleague. I remember when we were thinking about this talk, I worked with Eduardo in another company, and we used to talk about it because we don't have a lot of experience with metrics. So we start talking about how we could do this, and then this talk appears. But I think it's interesting to you connect with other colleagues to be more to have a base that I can say to prove that makes sense. So I could think in like in a fast thinking here, I could say I could you could think about the process making connections to have more power, you can say, to make sense to have this. I don't know if you have any in your opinion.
Yeah, I saw what Rachel was talking about. So, how to set up your process. So, you are designing something, you are handing off your design to developers, and you have just made a checklist. I need to build my UI flow. I need to document the rules of the business, and I need to choose metrics, define metrics that I would like to monitor after I launch this feature you are building right now. And so after doing this, you do your checklist, you define your metrics, and you put on your agenda 3 weeks from now, for 2 months from
Mm-hmm.
now. Go back to this and look through these metrics and see how it went. See if your users are using this new feature. See how your metrics are performing over time. But create this habit. Put on your checklist of handing off, documenting your process and defining metrics, and do this a lot, and you create these habits. That's how
Mm-hmm.
I'm working right now, and it's working for me.
Consider from the beginning, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And create this habit. So put it on your agenda. I will monitor this. I promise I'll monitor this a month, 2 months from now. This will help too.
Uh, I like. I did like to use a Marvel example to show a difference between CSAT and EPS. Do you like Avengers game? A question. This is a set, a satisfaction with own experience. And NPS. Would 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 you recommend Marvel to a friend? This NPS, a loyalty over time. So CSAT is about now, and the NPS is about the future.
It's a good one. Very good.
Thanks, Kara.
Can I pass? I don't know, Joe, if you have any.
Any questions, people?
Okay, so one last thing. On this QR code, you will find our LinkedIn
Yeah.
and the metric street template I taught on the beginning of the talk.
Mhm.
It's a quick heads up about Scrum next. This upcoming section is about San Francisco FOF team, and there remained to check out this event and the website for more sections and recordings later on. This slide invites everyone to share their feedback about Friends of Figma World 225. It explains that the event is a global celebration of design driven by community, so every opinion counts. They're asking just a minute to fill a quick form by scanning the QR code so the next edition can be even better. Every response will help you, the organism, learn, improve, and grow.
Next one.
Nothing's great is made alone. This Noah Levin said this in Shaped Figma in América Latina. Agora o Figma fala português. Agora vou fugir um pouco do protocolo falando em inglês, só para dizer isso para o nosso público brasileiro, que agora o Figma fala português. This Figma talk em português. Next, Carol.
Oh, I just have this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you, Rachel, Henrique, Jay.
Yeah.
Baliza, Basilia.
Oh, yeah.
Basilia, thank
Yes.
you. A big hug. See you next year.
Yeah. See you guys. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
See ya.